Makarita Vangi is a single mother who supports one son in boarding school and a daughter who lives with her. With her limited education, she has not been very successful in finding a job. Makarita has been getting social welfare benefits for several years, which she had to collect from the head office in downtown Suva.
I had to wait in a line. There was a long queue and I have to be patient. And sometimes it takes me like 3 hours if I came in the same day with the rest of the others that collect their vouchers.
From the Department of Social Welfare, Makarita then had to take her voucher to the post office where they would cash it so she could buy food.
It was difficult because I live in the interior of Suva, like I live in the hillside. So I have to come from the top hill and then come down to the city to collect the voucher and the money.
Now though, the value of Makarita's voucher is sent electronically and immediately into Makarita's bank account. This is part of the Fiji government's new government-to-person initiative, or G2P.
It has really helped the clients. For example, we have clients who are staying right in the interior, and they have to pay a lot of money to come and collect their vouchers or their funds. And sometimes, like almost about 3/4 of that funds is used to access. So instead of traveling all this long distance, they'll be able to access the funds as close as possible to where they are residing.
Makarita and other social welfare recipients were part of more than 500,000 people in Fiji without bank accounts, comprising nearly 60% of the island country's entire population. Having access to a bank account is an example of financial inclusion. Financial inclusion means enabling the greater population, especially low-income and rural households, to have access to a wide range of financial services provided by different institutions in a cost-effective manner.
Financial services or financial inclusion, it generates activity, economic activity, and it enables people to help themselves. I think if you start off with getting the basic financial service of a savings facility, once people develop the savings habit and have some savings, they can have access to other types of facilities of a financial institution like a lender. They can borrow. The whole financial inclusion thing is not about giving handouts to anyone. It's about getting the people to be able to help themselves.
The Pacific is one of the least banked regions in the world. In some Pacific Island countries, it is estimated that less than 10% of the population have access to basic financial services.
One of the main reasons they lack access is just proximity. They're not close enough to a bank branch or a point of service. And that's true in the Pacific Islands, particularly people that live in the interior or also that live on the remote islands. But then a major issue is cost. Cost of financial services is quite high, even basic savings services.
In Fiji, nearly 40% of the country's population are considered to live below the poverty line, a sizable percentage for any country. Traditional microcredit programs and microfinance institutions have had limited success in the region due to their relatively high costs and inability to achieve economies of scale in small island states.
Being unbanked has a lot of consequences. People, especially low-income people, have the ability to generate income and to build wealth. The trouble are what we call shocks, financial shocks. Some of these shocks are predictable events, for instance, family weddings, school fees, funerals. Where low-income families get into trouble is they don't have the ability to smooth their cash flow during these times of shocks. So not only do they end up using all of their financial assets during the shocks, but oftentimes they have to liquidate what other physical assets that they have. And they end up going from climbing up a ladder to get out of poverty and then suddenly shooting straight back down.
Despite the challenges in providing access to basic financial services to those in the rural areas of the Pacific, developing countries in other parts of the world have had notable successes. In the Pacific, Fiji has taken the lead in taking steps to getting financial services to its rural population. The introduction of new technologies in Fiji and the commitment of the Fiji government to develop initiatives to help the poor get banked have created a unique opportunity to include more rural people in the national economy. In 2009, the Reserve Bank of Fiji and the Pacific Financial Inclusion Program, or PFIP, brought together a group of stakeholders to develop a medium-term strategy for financial inclusion in Fiji. What made this strategy so important was the fact that it drew participation and commitment from such a diversity of high-level stakeholders in the country. These stakeholders included commercial banks, insurance companies, credit unions, MFIs, government and donor agencies. The workshop enthusiastically developed the national strategy, committing themselves to an ambitious overarching goal to reach 150,000 unbanked Fiji citizens by 2014. Participants further endorsed the establishment of a body called the National Financial Inclusion Taskforce, or NFIT, to monitor the implementation of these action items and to ensure that solutions were well coordinated and effective. Chaired by the Reserve Bank of Fiji, the task force developed 3 working groups: financial literacy, statistics and microfinance, all with their key activities focused around getting banking services to poor rural people. One notable activity of the Financial Literacy Working Group is the Financial Competency Survey currently underway in various parts of Fiji. The survey results will determine the level of financial competency in low-income households and assist the NFIT in developing a national strategy that effectively promotes financial literacy in Fiji. This national strategy can then utilize both the traditional media to convey its messages, as well as create a longer-term framework of financial education for the people of Fiji. This means that NFIT is not only targeting adults with its financial literacy, but also younger citizens like students.
For income, because we've got class 3 and 4 students,
NFIT has already embarked on the first stages of a unique initiative, one that will promote financial literacy in Fiji through schools, making it an integral part of the national school curricula. This project has been made possible by the strong partnerships formulated in NFIT and the coordinated support of the Financial Literacy Working Group. The implementing partners in this initiative are the Ministry of Education, PFIP, the Young Enterprise Trust, with the financial assistance of AusAid Fiji. By 2012, starting from Class 1 right up to Form 6, students will learn the values of saving, of planning their finances, as well as how to access financial services.
I think it's important for them because it teaches them how to spend money, how to use their money wisely. Because financial education is all about managing your money.
Once they enjoy, they see that their money is growing and what money can give to them, then I think it will be really a change, especially for the Fijian students in our communities.
Once this framework is in place, Fiji will become the first Pacific Island country to actively integrate financial education into the national school curriculum.
Financial education teaches us that if you have a certain amount of money and you need to borrow, you have to understand that borrowing has to be returned also. So this will help the kids at a younger age to understand that. Because even adults now don't understand. So it will help our society to come to a point where we'll have less borrowing and more saving as a society.
The NFIT's Microfinance Working Group's goal is to ensure an enabling environment for microfinance in Fiji. The NFIT provided a platform of engagement with both public and private sector partnerships. As with other aspects of financial inclusion, these partnerships are essential to ensure that providing banking services to the poor is not just an innovative idea, but provides positive change in people's lives.
How can I say to have a better future?
In 2011, a series of expos and presentations were convened around Fiji to raise awareness in the community of the various products of microcredit, microfinance, and microinsurance.
This is what I'm going to do to my children.
These expos drew on support from a number of NFIT partners and also received high-level support from the Fiji government, with the Finance Ministry Permanent Secretary attending many of the presentations.
The important thing is that people are being empowered and they are creating economic activity. So that's how it leads to economic development. And when the financial inclusion and microfinance plans that we have right now not only empowers them or allows them to go into business, in doing so, they're addressing some of the targets, development goals that we have.
Since the task force's inception, a number of milestones have already been achieved. Within its first year, the NFIT, through its initiatives, has reached 34% of the 150,000 unbanked Fijians targeted in its vision. Last year, Digicel Fiji and Vodafone Fiji launched mobile money networks, providing more than 25,000 subscribers with a platform to deposit and transfer money domestically at reduced transaction costs. Microinsurance continues to grow as well, with ADB, PFIP, AusAid Fiji, RBF and faith-based organizations partnering with visionary underwriters. Social welfare benefits are now distributed across Fiji through Westpac branches, ATMs and POS devices, with 17,000 of these social welfare clients having access to bank accounts for the very first time. With support from all its multi-sectoral partners, the National Financial Inclusion Taskforce has developed a strong foundation in Fiji from which it can continue to increase financial inclusion and contribute to the success of its initiatives. With more research on the number and kinds of families that have access to financial services, Fiji's task force can continue to increase awareness in the community about the growing number of financial services and products available. This in turn should enable people to have easier access to their own funds, to obtain credit, and to help insure themselves against risks that they could face following a disaster.
The Reserve Bank has a vision of leading Fiji to economic success. To us, that basically means putting food on every Fijian's family's table. And if we can do that by way of financial inclusion, then that is the goal that we want. At the end of the day, if all Fijians have some form of access to a particular financial service, and then we would have done our job, and it would be better both socially and economically for the whole country. And this is basically our target.
Fiji's progress in financial inclusion is seen in the region as a model that other Pacific Island countries can emulate. Considerable information sharing between the Reserve Bank of Fiji and its sister organizations in other island countries is seeing similar task forces being developed in other parts of the region. The lessons learned in Fiji show that there is no generic solution to financial inclusion. Its success lies in creating an enabling environment, great partnerships, being innovative and using technology and design interventions that cater specifically for the needs of Fiji. In this way, financial inclusion is a medium-term solution for a long-term goal: the gradual alleviation of poverty in the country.